All right, we're here. We're back. New episode
The
of
new
Frosty Dingy
episode.
after taking a week off. Caged Dolphin and Flounder here. Cobe, how's the boat business?
The boat business is rather interesting. Like I said, I took the what was that? Hold on, there we go. Another stuff clicked up there, but we took all that stuff down to the boat business, and we looked into it while I was down there, and I'm gonna have to go down there. That's pretty much all there is to it. So we are working on a plan to get me down there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but on funnier news, you'll get a kick out of this. Uh, I have a new live-in girlfriend now, so that's always exciting.
Oh shit!
Yeah, yeah.
Does the original girlfriend know? Does she realize you brought in someone else?
No, she has no idea, but she's technically not. She's not moved in yet, so I
Oh, all right.
guess by January, I'll have to kick out all the other ones. So
Yeah.
she'll get a kick out of this episode if she ever watches it. It'll be exciting.
Well, there you have it.
The aunt and uncle found out it's going to happen last night, so I figured I could go ahead and let everybody else in the world know.
Well, if it's aunt and uncle official, it's about as official as it gets. Just right behind the Facebook, I suppose.
Yeah, we ended up at Spectators last night watching the first three quarters of the Texas game. Spectators is actually going out of business. They're closing up because
I heard that. I knew they were
Adventureland's kicked
closing
them
the
out. So
Adventureland in. Yeah, I knew they were closing the Adventureland in because they're wanting to make that like dormitory housing for employees, which has got to make it a lot easier for them to get people to stay, you know, working there if they have housing. And it's real hard to call in sick when you live at the place, I suppose.
yeah, that it would. But the hotel's been closed for a while, but now
Right.
they're kicking the tenants out. So there right now, I think there's a petition going around from customers to see if they can get them to move to a building in Bondurant, but there hasn't been any headway on that yet. I think they're just closing, which is sad because they got the best boneless wings around. So
Well, that's the thing, I guess. Boneless wings.
yeah, they're
Not my kind of
chicken
thing.
nuggets. So
Yeah.
basically squishy chicken nuggets that are really good.
Dino nuggies.
Yeah, they're not dinosaur shaped though, but they are pretty
Yeah,
fucking
they could
good.
be.
Yeah,
They
all the
could
other
be.
food's good there too. I mean, but
Yeah,
that's just what I eat.
I've ate there several times. We used to go to the Adventureland Inn as a family. Had the swimming pools, which was great for the kids, and some birthday parties and stuff like that. So it was a good time. It's a sad thing for them, I guess, but it happens.
I definitely
So
love any place that has a swim up bar like Adventureland Inn did, but I used to get like the junior suite for Oktoberfest and stuff like that, which the pool was right outside with the nice
hmm
swim up bar. So that was always a good time. But like I said, it's closing. I'm sad. I wish I could get some of that shit they have hanging on the wall though, all the autograph stuff. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, they had a lot of cool shit on hanging on the wall. So who knows? I mean, maybe if they find another location, maybe it just transfers everything over and everything goes on as well. But
Yeah, I think their last day's the 26th, which is coming up quicker than I thought it would. So, oh well. I guess I'll have to find somewhere else to hang out. Had to go to
well,
the Texas Roadhouse after we watched the new Now You See Me movie because it was the only thing open when we got out. It wasn't a horrible movie. They did a lot of introducing new characters, so that way the franchise can keep moving along and not have to worry about the same cast every time. So we'll see where it goes from this one. They brought in three new characters, and I think one of them exited. So, not sure how
well,
close
that's
they
going to
followed
happen when
the.
you got a franchise.
Yeah, I didn't know how close you followed the Now You See Me movies.
I think we've talked about this. I don't think I've seen any of them.
Well, all right. So there was some big movements that we got to talk about in our sports world, and I would like to start with I wasn't wrong. LSU sucks this year. They're they're having they are not doing what the fans berated me about on the comment section. Their quarterback, the Nussmeyer, is nowhere in the Heisman race whatsoever. He's not even being considered. He has 1,927 yards, a 67.4 completion percentage, 12 TDs, and 5 picks. He's been sacked 15 times this year. So that makes it tough to
Well,
keep your quarterback rating up when you get sacked that much, but he's not a Heisman candidate like we were told. And they are 6-4.
I would say this. Let's be honest about it. They have not had a good year by any means. Uh, I'm never going to be one that's necessarily puts quarterback sacks on the quarterback.
Not all
So,
of them. I mean, if you're holding the ball too long, that's on you. But like we've seen it
I
where the linemen have blocked for like 5 or 6 seconds, and then a sack happens before, and that's on the quarterback. You got to get rid of the ball. But if you're getting hit within the first 2 or 3 seconds, that's on the line.
well, it is what it is. Let's be honest. They got Western Kentucky, I think, coming up next week in a powder puff game. Um, so I mean, they're bowl eligible. They're going to go to a bowl game. They're going to make money. But they're dedicated. I can't remember. I heard the amount that they're having to pay off the coach they fired, and it's incredible. I believe the coach is actually suing the school now because the program is trying to show that the firing was for cause, like other than the fact he just wasn't doing a good enough job for him.
Yeah. That way they don't have to
Like
pay
he
him.
was trying to, so they don't have to pay him. Which you know what? That's chicken shit. That's chicken shit.
I
Unless you
agree.
want to come out and say what infractions he's done, you you can't prove anything to me on that. Stop playing bullshit. But they're gonna have to go find a new coach, and that'll be a fun operation. It's gonna be a spendy operation, and that's the level of commitment I guess LSU's making to wanting to win.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they got one of the best followings in football. I'll give them that. They do have very talkative fans that are deep into that program, but they are kind of I think they're just blind to what actually goes on a lot of the times, and their chances. I'm the same way from time to time as well with Texas. I mean, Texas is not as good as I thought they were going to be this year, but at least I admit it that they're not the powerhouse that they were predicted at the beginning of the year by any means. I mean, they just gave up 21 points to Georgia in the fourth quarter last game. So, never a good thing. My favorite sports thing that I have been right on so far this year is Saquon Barkley. Saquon has 579 yards through 9 games. He is not on pace to beat the 2,500 yards that everybody predicted him to have this year, and he goes right back to his normal season stats of under 1,000.
Well, I don't think there's many people predicting 2,500 yards out of him this year. Let's be honest about that. I think you're just making that shit up.
That was the
But
over and under on
to
the
to
betting
me,
site of
is,
2,500 total
was this
yards.
total yards?
Total yards
Okay,
between receiving and
okay. I
receiving.
was okay.
Receiving, he's only got 200 yards, so he's at 700 and change.
I So the Eagles have issues. I don't think it's a Saquon issue. Um, they lost an offensive lineman who was really, the guy kind of was a bust when he got drafted as a tackle. Went to the Eagles. They moved him to guard, and I think he was an All Pro last year, and he left via free agency. Offensive linemen are tough to come by right now. It really is. You get those guys that they're good athletes, offensive linemen, and they get them to college and they think, you know what, I'll be able to make more money on defense. And if they're a good enough, athlete, they move them to the defensive line. So that's why the defensive lines are so dominant. Is all the real big, strong athletes are going defense rather than offense right now because money talks, man.
Yes, it does.
So I, I like I said, I don't think it's a Saquon issue. I think it is an offensive line issue, and I think it's an Eagles issue.
Well, I would go on that, except for if you look at his career yards, they're barely breaking 1,000 yards, except for his 2,000 season last year, and
Well,
the
and
season before
but
that he
then
had
we're talking,
962.
yeah, but we're talking about the Giants in those cases.
Yeah,
I think everybody kind of knows by now how my feelings of the Giants are. But they are fun to watch with Jameis Winston at quarterback. Entertaining. He's an entertaining player. I enjoyed him in his time in Cleveland. I think he's eccentric and sometimes erratic with the ball, but he's a lot of fun.
he's definitely been that
So
way all the way through Florida State to the NFL as well.
yeah,
So I still think Saquon's a bust, and he's not as good as his one flash in the pan year. And right now, his numbers are saying that, regardless of if he's playing for a crappy team or not. I mean, Barry Sanders played for a crappy team, and he still racked up the yards. Saying if he was the running back that everybody claims he is, he'd be making a bigger difference in the games than he is. And 3.9 yards a carry isn't really getting that done.
well, I still maintain that falls on the O line. But here's the other thing we all know: football evolves, right? It's a game of pitch and catch between offenses and defenses. Offense comes up with something new. Defense doesn't know quite how to react. Defense catches up, starts dominating a bit. Offenses evolve. And I think this is just another cycle of it right there. You can go back a few years to the Dolphins and the Wildcat. It was an amazing offense for 2 seasons, and then defensive coordinators figured out how to defend it.
Didn't
And
the
now it's
wild
just,
didn't the Wildcat just beat the Browns right there in that last play? The Wildcat formation.
well, no, that was the tush push thing they do with Mark Edwards at quarterback, where because he's a bigger guy, they have him take the snap and kind of full back it through. They did run a counter off. It was a beautiful design play. Um,
It looked great. It
so
sucked against the
so
Browns, but
so I would not call that a wildcat because he was definitely under center, while the wildcat
yeah,
was always, from shotgun. This wasn't a wildcat play. Wildcat, you take your quarterback and you throw him way out of wide receiver just to make someone go out there and try to sneak some shit in. But you look throughout history, football offenses come up with something new and defenses have to catch up. So that could just be where we're at right now.
the savior of the Browns was in the game after Gabriel got hurt. Is that correct? The old
Yeah,
Shadur
he
came
he
in.
he should yeah, Gabriel went out after the first half, concussion protocol. So I hope he gets healthy. I hope his brain gets okay. They scanned his cat
Good
and
fight.
but yeah, Shador came in. It was what was to be expected when you've been getting second team reps for 6 weeks and you come in at halftime and they know that this is the very first that you've seen of actual game time, and they brought pressure. And the Browns' offensive line is not good. The interior three are solid, but the tackles are not good. They lost another tackle today earlier in the first half. Um, he couldn't. He couldn't. They did an excellent job of disguising what their blitzes were. I'll say that the Ravens are a very good team, despite what their record showed. Um, they they're probably still going to win the NFC North, if we're being honest about it. But they did. They disguised what their defense was very well against a rookie quarterback. You look at the last drive, he got some time and he did make some nice throws. So I'm not going to say it was a complete failure. It looked like a rookie fifth round pick coming in to try to see what he could do. Honestly, when it comes to the Browns at this point, I think I really like I really like Stefanski. I don't really know what AB's done with the team. Uh, and what's sad is he's drafted some great players, but they're all been on the defensive side, and we got an offensive head coach, and we haven't given him the weapons I really think that we need to give him to really succeed. Um, I know they brought in Jerry Judy, but he yeah, he drops the ball a lot. I think last I knew he led the league in drops. It's tough to feel confident when you throw a guy to the ball and they don't catch it.
See, that's what I told you
Their
when you
number
guys picked him up, that Judy is not a number one receiver. He has the hands issue, and he always has. He had it in Denver as well, where he'd make big plays every now and then, but he wasn't consistent on catching the ball. So
Yeah, so I mean that is what it is. It's I I don't know where to go. I don't know what the Browns need to do, I'll be honest. I like the stability we've had over the last 6, 7 years. I think it's been 6, 7 years. Uh but maybe it is time for a change. I I don't condone it. I don't like the thought. I think Stefanski's a good coach. But I just don't think he's been given the tools that have been needed to win. And I know they got hamstrung by the stupid Deshaun Watson trade. That was the maybe the worst trade ever in football history for a team. Um, but
I'm glad you pulled him out of Texas,
it's yeah, like
so I don't have to watch it.
so is everybody else. But yeah, I know that put the Browns back a ways. That was a terrible trade, a terrible contract. Whoever decided that, yeah, they probably should be no longer in Cleveland. My fear is maybe it was the ownership that thought that would be what they needed. Um, but I disagree, obviously. So
So if you go
I
just, and I'm not talking about actual sports facts here. Okay. So just bear with me for a second. But if Sanders was the player that all of his fans that are pushing to get him to start and get his shot, if that person would have came in and saved the game, it would have cemented the fact that the Browns were wrong for not playing him and he was the best overall pick in the draft, like everybody, not everybody, but the ones pushing for him to start. That would have gave him a case, right? So then he goes out and
I think
plays
that's
like he did
extreme.
today, but he went out and played like he did today. It actually backed up the fact that he was drafted in the right position, in my opinion. That he wasn't a round 1, 2, or 3 player. I mean, he still had the same inconsistencies he had in college because, yes, the O line got him sacked a few times, but there were times where he was holding on to the ball for too long. He wasn't throwing it away, and he was trying to do too much on his feet, and he got lit up for it. But there's also times where he got away with it and was getting first downs using his legs. So I don't know. I think he was not a top 3 round draft pick just by him not fixing those issues that he had in college by now.
Well, I don't think there's anything I could say or do that's going to change your mind because for whatever reason you hate Shador Sanders.
I do not hate him. I just
So
don't think
that's
that he's as good as what everybody's pushing him to be.
well, I think what people are pushing for him is hope, right? I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think anybody really thought. Okay, I shouldn't say anybody. There was a few
There's a
people
lot
that
of
thought
people
he
that think
was.
it.
Well, there's a lot of people like blood sausage too, but
And beans on toast. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
So,
saying
I
I'm setting it
just
up so you could make a case, right there at the end of what I was saying about where you think by just watching him play a little bit, it should he have been drafted higher than fifth round, or do you think he got drafted in the spot that he should have been?
I'll be honest with you. I think anything outside the first round for a quarterback means that you're a hope and a prayer. The first round quarterbacks, I think, are typically, that's where you're saying, hey, this is a guy we want to believe in. We're going to give this guy a solid year, 2 years to show what he has. And if you're not the first round guy, you got backup status all over you. That's and some people have been able to overcome that, but if I think this is kind of like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you might as well be last.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I just, like I said, if the critics and the comment sections were correct, today would have went a hell of a lot different than it did. But he looks like he's a normal draft pick playing in the NFL. He's not the savior that everybody thought he was going to be or was pretending he was.
I like I said, I mean, how much do you expect from guys? It's they. You can't look at the rookies and just expect them to be studs right away at the quarterback position. It just typically does not happen, right? It just doesn't. Cam Ward was the number one pick, just hands down, the number one pick. That's who everybody wanted. And what has he really done this year? You know,
Not a lot.
and I'm not trying to hate on Cam Ward. I think he was the right guy to be picked number one, but he's only so good, right? Like you can't make up. You can't. Yeah, you can maybe make your team better as a quarterback, but you can't overcome some like multiple deficiencies. There's a reason why the Titans had the number one pick. And it's because they had multiple deficiencies. It wasn't just the quarterback. So it's Cam Ward's doing okay. He's not doing great. But you know, I think you gotta give these guys 2 years at the first round to really see what you have. I think that's part of the reason why the Jets have never, you look at who the Jets have had at quarterbacks, you know, they gave up on Sam Darnold. He went, what? Was it 14-3 last year for the Vikings? He's
I believe
he's
so.
eight and
That
three right now for the
sounds about right.
he's 8-3 right now for the Seahawks, I think. Um, they gave up on him. They gave up on him too fast. They wanted to blame the quarterback, and sometimes you got to see things aren't the quarterback's fault. Quarterbacks, yeah, you hope that your quarterback can raise your team above some diversity, not diversity, but you know what I mean? Like you hope the quarterback can raise your team up out of problems, but they can only raise them up so much. They're not Superman.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was just, like I said, I'm just trying to bring people back down to reality on a quarterback that still needs to develop, that isn't, you know, 100% ready to grab the reins and destroy all the teams in the NFL like he's being projected as from the comment sections. I mean, he might have a bright future, but he needs to develop on the holes that he had in his game coming out. Yeah. So that's enough of the Browns talk for the evening. There was a lot of close games in the NFL today. How many did you partake in?
Well, with having the YouTube TV and the Sunday ticket, it's pretty awesome. You can get the multi-view up there, so you can watch up to like four games at a time, and one with sound. And so the early window, it was one of those things. I didn't bother with the Panthers Falcons. I No, I did have, yeah, Panthers Falcons on, and I had Bears Vikings, I had the Bills and Buccaneers, and I had the Steelers Bengals on. Uh, you know, so I watched 4 early, and then once the late came on, I was just solely Cleveland. Um, Jaguars kind of stopped the shit out of the Chargers. Uh, you know, 49ers still look like a good team. They still look like a team that can really contend. We might be looking for 3 teams coming out of the NFC West, but the NFC North is also freaking strong as shit. The Bears with the win today. It's the Vikings. I'm not sure what's going on with the Vikings. Once again, this might be
I heard
JJ
they played
McCarthy,
like dog
and I'm
shit today. So
well, JJ McCarthy missed all of his rookie year. So he's already missed, damn near half of this year. So he's still very limited in his time at quarterback. So there's probably some growing pains there. I mean, they really need, last year with having Sam Darnold play the way he did, it was kind of a blessing and probably a curse for the Vikings. This is a situation maybe the Vikings have been better off re-signing Sam Darnold and trying to trade JJ McCarthy, and they probably would have got a first for JJ, especially for the fact he didn't prove anybody wrong with how he played because he didn't get to play at all. So, and then the late games, still a lot of close games. The Rams and Seahawks came down to a late kick. The Broncos, fuck them. They won a game on a game-winning field goal. The Ravens had that, and like I said, it was a beautiful counterplay, but the Browns took them right down to the last 2 minutes of the game. It was a good day in football. It really was. I hate to admit it, I do love the Broncos orange jerseys, the ones that look for like from our youth. I think they're pretty fucking awesome looking. I still fucking hate the Broncos.
right after the Browns game, we switched over to watch the end of the Chiefs game, and the Broncos made a hellacious throw to get the ball down there. I thought that was a nice play to just recenter the ball there to kick the field goal to win it instead of trying to push for more yards after that catch.
Yeah.
And then the announcers kept bringing up the old games where it was the exact same field goal distance and they got blocked. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, unfortunately for all of us Bronco haters, it did not get blocked.
Yeah, the Chiefs are 5-5 now, aren't they? They're not having the bang up season that they're supposed to be having.
Well, they kind of fell behind the 8 ball right away at the start. They started 1-3, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, they're sitting at 5-5, and it's the league's competitive. I don't think there's really a team out there that you look at and say, boy, they're the ones you got to beat this year. I think there's probably a dozen teams that you could look at and say, yep, they could win the Super Bowl. Yep, they could win the Super Bowl. Yep, they could win the Super Bowl. And I don't think that's very typical anymore.
No, no. Usually there's a front runner that everybody's trying to catch.
So, yeah, so the Broncos take down the Chiefs. Chiefs 5-5. You know, I still don't think any team will want to play them if they get into the playoffs. That's just how it is. So we'll see what happens.
I wonder how deep into the script that they have to go to make the Chiefs have a comeback season this year. If that's completely scripted all the way out for them.
Yeah, well, here's what I know: the NFL is not the NBA. So, if we want to talk scripts, we're talking NBA.
Well, let's talk NBA. The Lakers look like they might be doing better without LeBron.
So, if I'm going to be completely honest, I have no fucking. I have watched more Olympic trail curling in the last week than I have NBA in the last 4 years, probably. So,
Yeah, the NBA is definitely a dying sport at the moment. They need to figure out how to turn that dumpster fire around and get it going back up. Everybody said there for a while it was that baseball was worse to watch than the NBA, but the numbers just on the one World Series game more than tripled the amount of people that have watched the NBA this year, if I remember those numbers correctly.
Yeah, the NBA is just not very fun. I hate it.
Me too.
You know what the problem to me is the guys have gotten so big and fast. Like it used to be, if you were a 7 footer, you were playing center and you move like a fucking baby giraffe. And now you're a 7 footer and you move quick as shit. You're fucking agile. You shoot from 40 feet out. Um, the court's almost too small anymore because the way the game's played. Like I said, fucking put the basketball court on a fucking football field. Let them play on that, and then maybe I'll be entertained. Like legit, it's the basketball court's too small.
I know what you're saying. Their feet barely fit between the 3 point line and the out of bounds line anymore.
Yeah, let's make that court bigger. Let's make it a lot bigger. Add another 10, 15, 20 feet to each side and really extend it out and make it big because the game has grown past where it was 30 years ago. And I'm not saying it's better, I'm not saying it's worse, but it's a different game than what it was. So,
So if you're going to extend the court out, right? Like you said, adding the 10 to 15 feet on the sides, does that mean you're pulling the 3 point line out farther and making the lane bigger, or maybe put it back to that trapezoid that it used to be? Like,
I don't think it matters I don't think it's going to matter where you put the 3 point line at anymore. Most of these guys can shoot it from the fucking half court line and sink them.
yeah.
Um, that's what they do from the time they're fucking six, is they grab a basketball and they shoot from 32 feet away. And that's just what the game is right now. So I don't think it matters where the 3 point line is. I think, yeah, to me, make it bigger, make the whole court bigger. I mean, obviously, leave the basket at 10 foot, leave the free throw at 15 foot. I don't care what you do at the 3 point line. It doesn't matter because no one's, the difference between them making the shot at the line or making it from 4 feet behind the line, it's not going to make a shit of difference.
So here's a wild thought and a throwback from our childhood. Remember when MTV used to put on the pro-am games? You remember those? Like the
Yeah,
baseball games and
yeah,
softball games. And
yeah.
so just hypothetically, do you think that the NBA would be more fun, sorry, not funner, more fun, if you put in the 10 point spot and the double basketball hoop, the one that's got the higher basketball hoop that's worth more? Do you think
I
that'd be
I
more
think
entertaining?
the funner part of basketball I ever saw was slam ball.
Yeah, slam ball is fun.
That was entertainment. Yeah,
I,
I don't dig basketball. I mean, if people do dig basketball, great. I'm happy for you. I can't watch it anymore.
one
It's not it's not enjoyable for me.
Basketball is definitely not anywhere even remotely close to how it used to be. And I know that's dating us again, but you had the smaller people and then you had the bigger people. Now they're roughly all about the same size.
Yeah, they're all huge.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. And they put in a lot of work to get to the level they do. So I'm not disparaging them by any means. They're athletes. They're fucking amazing. I guess I just, it's one of those things that you look at it, basketball, you have five guys on a team, right? So if, you look, there's what, 32 teams in the NBA? Does that sound about right?
I have no clue how many teams are in there anymore.
So I mean,
I know.
if you really think about it, that's 160 starting spots in the NBA. And you think about all the kids out there that have been playing basketball, and you know, that's not a very big that's a very small pool. So all of them. I mean, there's no starters you look at and think, boy, why is he playing? They're all studs. So it's not like football where you're one of 11. There's 300 and, whatever you want to call it, 22, you know, 22 starting positions per team. Well, 700 starters in the NFL. That's a lot bigger than it is for basketball. It's a lot harder to get that pool to
So
fill the way the basketball has.
the NBA has 30 teams, and they are allowed to have 15 players on their roster. There are a total of 450 players in the NBA.
Right. Oh, I'm out of frame for a second here, just so you know.
Okay, you
I'll pick up the
doing
phone
the
here.
nasty, doing the nasty over there, are you?
No, so I got like a pinched nerve in my back or something, and my my uh my my leg goes numb, and it's one of those things I got to stand up if I sit too long. It's pretty miserable actually. So I
Yeah,
had to stand up for a little bit to try to stretch
the
out.
the old back problems. Tell me you're old without saying you're old.
Well, I'm old, so I don't have to.
I fought those all week too, so I was throwing around 300-pound rails at work again. So right there with you.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's. I think was talking about with my wife, and we're thinking maybe it's like sciatic nerve or something like that, where it's just not. It's not great. So
Yep,
yeah,
my
occasionally I got
back
to
problem
stand
is
up and stretch out.
my back problem is exactly the same as yours. It's something shifted enough to pinch a nerve, and that's causing all my issues too. So I'm right there with you,
Yeah,
pretending I'm old.
it's it's pretty miserable actually when it hurts to sit down.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing that always makes you feel better, you can't do anymore, and you just got to stand there and stare at the wall.
Yep.
Definitely get that. So here's something that I think you might get to teach me a little bit today. That I just since we were bouncing around through teams, I looked up who the pro teams are that are the pro sports that are playing right now, and the NHL is running pretty hard right now. So how many games do the teams play in the NHL?
Well, it's 82 game regular season, and
Okay.
then there's 16 team playoff. I tell you what, hockey does something. I don't know if basketball does it or not, but hockey has one night, and it happened earlier this month or late last month, where every team plays on the same day, same night. So like from for quite a while, I mean, it's multiple hours of hockey that's on TV, which is
Yeah.
great. It kind of reminds me of when I used to go to the Buck Bowl when I was in Des Moines. They'd bring in seven other teams, and hockey would start at 8 in the morning, and then it was a whole day of hockey, and you could get tickets for like $4. Um, it was great. It was the easy way to bring in fans. It was cheap, and they got to see the game. And once you see the game, you love the game. It's a little more difficult to watch it on TV, but when you actually get a chance to watch it live, it's fantastic. So it's
The only
it
there's
was
only one time I was disappointed about a Bucks game is, and it wasn't because of the people that showed up. It's just I didn't know that the little what were they? The suites that you can rent there were up in the corner away from the all the action, that you couldn't actually really see the hockey game from the private suite that we rented for my birthday that year. And everybody kept going down and sitting in the seats in front so that way they could
yeah.
watch the
I
game better.
guess I didn't realize that either. I just remember I went to the Buck Bowl one year. I can't remember how long ago it was, and I think it was the first game, 8 in the morning start. And there's me, and there's like the parents of the two teams that are there. So there's maybe like 100 people in this arena. Yeah, I don't know how many people could go to a Bucks game. It was probably what 4 or 5 thousand. I bet could fit in there.
Yeah, I mean you'd be packed pretty tight at that, but yeah, you could pile it in, and sometimes it's full.
Yeah, so there was maybe, let's be honest, there was maybe 50 people in there right now, because this was like, I don't know, two teams that weren't anywhere near Des Moines. So there was some parents that like made the trip down to watch their kids play, and like me. And I'm like 23, 24, and it's 8 in the morning, and I'm at a hockey game, so I go get a beer and I sit down in these seats, and there's no one within like 3 sections of me, right? Like the
Yeah.
fucking bleachers are empty. I could sit wherever I wanted to. And I just chose this seat like halfway up in this one section, kind of not right in the middle, but kind of at a blue line. And all of a sudden, the usher comes walking up to me and he says, "Sir, I need to ask you to leave this section." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, this is a no alcohol section." And I kind of look around, and I'm sitting on the edge of the row, like right off the stairs.
Yeah.
And I look at him and I say, "Is that section right next to me no alcohol?" He says, "No, it's not." And I literally walked across the stairs to the other section and sat the same level, 2 feet from where I was, well, 4 feet from where I was, and sat down. And he looked at me and he said, "Thank you very much, sir." And he left,
I
and I
mean, what
just, whatever.
what could he really do? You did exactly what he was told to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you got up and you moved.
Well, and I wasn't going to argue about it. I mean, it didn't matter. I could sit anywhere I wanted. I just, if I wanted to sit right there, I couldn't drink. And damn it, I was young 20s and I wanted to drink because that's what I did. So yeah, I moved 4 feet over and everything was good.
So I went to a Barnstormers game, and I had tickets that were I didn't want to pay for right on the edge because they were like twice the price of the tickets that I bought. So at the beginning of before the game even started, I literally walked down the front row, picked the middle of the section, and just sat down with the person I was with, right there up against the boards because I checked on my phone and nobody was sitting in those seats. They weren't bought. So I went down there and sat. And about halfway through the first period, a group of people started coming down and sitting in the second row, like right behind me. And the usher came down there. "We need to see your tickets," to everybody behind me. And he kicked them all out of the section because they didn't pay for those seats. He looks at me and goes, I'm sorry that I had to make a scene like that, but people that don't pay for the rows down here shouldn't really be down here. It's not fair to people like you that pay full price." I'm like, "I appreciate that," and went back to watching the game. But he
Yeah.
didn't never kicked me out. So I was fine with it. I do like the Iowa Wild setup though. I love having that lounge area that we always get with the bartender right behind you and the tables right up against the glass. That's always a good time up there.
That that was an excellent time last year. I would probably go back and not do so many shots as I did that night. That was
Yeah, we I don't remember walking back to the hotel, so
I got a little excessive with the alcohol, let's be honest.
yeah, we both did. But I woke up in my hotel room and you woke up in yours, so it couldn't have been too bad.
That's right.
It's always a good time when you end up where you're supposed to be.
Well, I can safely say there was no children's playgrounds between the arena and my hotel that night, so I didn't have a covered place to sleep. So,
Well, you had the bridge you had to walk over, didn't you?
oh yeah.
So you could have been a troll.
Well, I just feel lucky I made it across the bridge, I suppose.
So the reason I brought up the NHL was I pulled up the website while we were waiting to get this going, and they have the NHL set up to where you can see the current leaders in each division, and then they had the wild card set up down here in which teams were below the line for the playoffs already, and it's only been 20 games. I'm like, I thought they played a hell of a lot more than 50 games, and they already have it set up so where you can see where everybody would fall in the playoff rankings right now.
Well, and I think that's one of those things when your half your league goes to the playoffs. Because like I said, I think they got 32 teams. They might only be at 30 though. But 16 teams make the playoffs, so like it's almost harder to not make the playoffs than to make the playoffs, I would say.
Yeah, I
So
just thought it
that's
was.
probably why they. And it's weird because so like in hockey, there's the two conferences, but then in each conference, I think there's two divisions, And the two division winners get like seeds 1 and 2, and then everybody else is just however they place.
Yep.
So
So
it's
the way it
it's
looks right
kind of
now is
it's
you
kind
got
of
the way it looks right now you got the way I'm reading it is it's called the wild card section, and you got the Eastern, right? And then it's Atlantic, and it's the top three teams in the Atlantic part of the conference. And you got the Metropolitan. They got the top three there, and then they got the wild card section below it, and then a black line that you have to be above to be the wild card. And right now, it's got two teams above it. And then you go to the Western Conference. It's broken down to Central, Pacific in their conferences, and it's the same way. So I thought it was kind of cool that they're actually the teams know exactly where they stand at all times on whether or not they're making the playoffs, and so
well,
do the fans. So
that's
that way they're not doing the NFL like 18 different ways to get in at all times. You know what I'm saying?
well the NFL it's harder though because they only play 17 games, so it's harder to there's more likelihood of people having the same record because there is only 17 games, whereas over 82 games it probably doesn't happen as much.
And I've never looked at like the Major League Baseball standings either. They probably do it the same way as hockey's doing it, but I've just never paid attention to it to where everybody knows which team is the bubble team and how many wins you have to get to catch them at all times and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure baseball
baseball.
runs it about the same way.
Yeah, baseball has it by the divisions. It shows the division leaders and all that, and then yeah, so then it also has the wild card listings down below that, and so it's usually really good. It's people know where they sit. So
So, uh, I saw something on the old Tiki Talk the other day, and I kind of wanted your viewpoint on it. They had two high school teams going out for the initial coin flip and the handshake and stuff like that, and both sides were chattering back and forth, and the referee goes, "If you guys don't quiet down and actually, show some respect and at least make an attempt to shake hands, you're going to get a penalty right off the get go." And the coaches were yelling not to touch the other players, don't shake their hands, and throwing a big fit about we'll take the penalty. We aren't gonna we aren't gonna show anybody respect out here. It's our field, and I I don't think that that's the type of coaching that high school kids need to start that
no,
division
it's
and start that behavior that's going to be in those kids the rest of their lives.
yeah, that in my opinion that's a chicken shit thing to do, and to have coaches that are endorsing that's even more chicken shit. Sportsmanship is should be a big part of it. If I like, I think one of my favorite clips is Oklahoma with my boy when he was quarterback down there, and Missouri. I think it was Kansas they refused to shake his hands, right? That I think it was Kansas refused to shake hands with Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma, and Baker just fucking went out and torched them. It's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I like it. Fucking show. Yeah, you can play games, but be sportsmanlike. It's the end. When it comes right down to it, you guys, you're all playing the same fucking game. So
And I've always looked at coaching because I was going to be a coach a long time ago, and I always looked at it as your the parents can put their spin on their own kids and instill the things that they want into them, but it's your job as a coach to try and make them better players and better people, because that's what you're doing. You're trying to instill a level of respect into the kids that will stick with them the rest of their life, something that they can look back on and be proud of, and also learn the sportsmanship side of the game, and how to interact with people and how to overcome adversity and still be able to cope with it and not be the arrogant the arrogant style of players that we have nowadays.
Well, I think it's all right to be arrogant, but still, at the same time, I mean, there's things that
Well,
you
that's what I'm
just
saying though.
do.
You're arrogant to the point where you're disrespectful.
Yeah, that's not arrogance. That's just fucking dickheadness. Like, I don't know. I think one of the greatest things ever is when hockey series goes seventh game, and it's all laid on the line, and it's insane. And then the game gets over, and the two teams, regardless how it happened, they always line up and shake hands and go down the line. And it's the power of sports. And good sports is really that's when you see that, you see get guys that have just been kicking the shit out of each other for 7 games, you know, giving it their all, and then they lose, but they still keep their heads up and they fucking go through the line and they congratulate the other team and go on. That's the shit I like. This fucking chicken shit bullshit. Oh, we don't respect people. They're coming to our house, blah, blah, blah. We're not shaking their hands. Fuck off. Fuck off. You know what you're teaching them? Fucking nothing. You're teaching them how to be pieces of shit.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I honestly think that coaches don't. Some coaches don't understand how much impact that they have on the young kids, and their coaching and their actions will actually stick with those kids a lot longer and pretty much the rest of their lives. I mean, I still have things that I do because that's how I was taught to act by my coaches growing up. So I don't think a lot of the coaches now understand the lasting effect that they're having on kids.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because they can really, you know, bring kids to what they need. Um, they have effects on kids that can be positive or negative, and it's too bad that sometimes bad coaches do that.
And I really think that there was a and I bring this up all the time, and a lot of people have mixed views on it, but I think one of the worst things that was ever created and has kind of made sports go the wrong direction were participation trophies.
I don't know about that. I think it's AAU. I think AAU has a lot of the downfall more than participation trophies. To be honest with you,
Well, rewarding
I'm
kids
I'm not
for
a I,
not putting in work.
well. I mean, who's to say they're not working? I mean, that's. I mean, I'm not trying to defend this. I'm not going to die on this hill, but I don't think participation trophies are necessarily the downfall of sports. I'd say the AAU system has bigger issues with what's going on than participation trophies.
Well, I think they both came around about the same time, but what is the AAU doing that I haven't seen
Well, so
because I
I
haven't followed AAU in a long time. So,
well, I'd say AAU, USA, USSSA, you get all these guys that they're trying to like live through their kids. They're probably I don't think a lot of them are actually, certified sport coaches. They're not like high school coaches. They're just fucking parents, a lot of them. Um, I think they push kids the wrong way. Uh, to me, that's the bigger issue is that it's the youth sports system. I'm a believer in keeping it small, but I get where there's kids that want that, but the problem is there's a lot of adults that push it, and you know I I was talking with a guy I know, and it was his senior year of wrestling, and the guy had won state once, and he was going to win again. I was talking to him, and he was out because he had the flu or something, and Calvin was still wrestling at the time as a youth, and we were talking, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I missed a lot of birthday parties on Saturdays to go to youth wrestling tournaments. He's like, if your son wants to go to a birthday party instead of a wrestling tournament, it's okay, and that's coming from a kid who won 2 state titles.
yeah. And that's how I mean a lot of times the kids are playing sports nonstop all year anymore, and they're not really getting any breaks.
Well, I think that's where we have these injury issues that we have now too. They're pushing their bodies to points that it's not supposed to be pushed. They're training more efficient than they ever have, and so the body doesn't have that natural forgiveness that it's supposed to have. You know what I mean? So instead of, I
Yeah.
think your body has a typical bend not break situation. But if you train your body to be, at 100% peak, there's no bending at that. It's just breakage.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I remember from when I was playing baseball when I was a kid was they wouldn't let you throw curveballs. Like when you were a kid, you had to be like 16 or 17 in our school before they got into the breaking balls because of the damage it did to your elbow. That was our biggest concern. And nowadays there's way more concerns that kids are hurting than other than just from throwing curveballs.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about any of it. Like I said, it's just one of those things that throwing a baseball is an unusual thing. It's one of those things the body naturally doesn't want to do. It really doesn't. I mean, it puts a lot of strain on your elbows and your shoulders, and it's hard on your body to really throw. It's I mean, but I loved it, so I'm not going to say it was bad.
Loved it? I thought you still did.
Oh, I still do, but I mean, I loved every bit of my baseball career. I really did. Now I'm
You're
at a
you're the
point where I
live and
can't
die
hardly throw a
baseball
ball.
guy.
Yeah, now I can't really hardly throw a baseball if fucking hurts my shoulder too much. Back in the day, different story.
Yeah. I remember when we were still playing catch out next to the apartment, you and your brother trying to kill me every day.
Yeah,
I, I thought it
we're
was a good
trying to
time.
kill you. We're just trying to make you. We're just trying to make you better.
Yeah, that was it. Yep, yep.
But did you
Teach me
die?
how to catch faster. No, I didn't
But did
die.
you
I didn't even
die?
get hurt. I could catch really good.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So, what's your favorite high school sports memory that you pulled off?
Ah, fuck. I have no idea.
You,
I
you don't have
I don't know.
the live or die story. Everybody's
No,
got one of those
I
stories. Like I was doing this back when I was 12, and
it's funny. It's like I'll talk with Calvin and stuff, and it's like and I was a good hitter in high school and shit. Uh, but it's funny. You watch the TikTok and you see them using the bats that we used back then, and they were all hot, man. They were hot as shit. So I don't know how good I would have been today. You know. So who knows?
yeah, the technology has definitely come a long way in the last 20 years since we were back there playing. I'm using 20 years loosely right now. I didn't really want to say 30.
Yeah, and it would have been more true.
Yeah, well, that'd put us both at 16. So, yeah, we're getting up there. So, if you could have your dream job in sports, where would you put yourself?
Fuck, I'd say right now I'd be retired. Let's be honest. 46 years old.
Now,
Uh,
46, you're still in the manager seat, buddy.
uh, yeah, no, I have no idea. The funny thing is, I wouldn't change anything that's
You,
happened to me because so where if I had the dream, if I lived the dream that I dreamed when I was 7, yeah, I'd probably been playing first base for the Cubs for a decade, but didn't happen, so that's all right.
the the new Mark Grace.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he ruled the '90s, and given the opportunity, maybe the 2000s has been memorable.
That would have definitely been interesting. I wouldn't have known who you are at all because I don't watch the Cubs. So that would have been a definite change in both of our lives on that one. So, you got any
Indeed.
final final sports knowledge you want to toss out for our truncated episode this week? Any
I
closing
tell you what,
thoughts or arguments?
I just suffered through another Browns loss. It's kind of depressing, actually. I was really hoping I was going to be all jacked up for this episode here, and then I was let down. So
So,
that's
when you
just kind
told
of
me Sanders was going in, I I went and turned the TV on. I'm like, I'm gonna have to know a little bit about this game because he'll want to talk about it. And then they lost. I'm like, well, I wonder which West we're gonna have in here today.
Yeah, it's rough. It's been a rough couple years. I don't know what the fuck we're doing. I just wish we'd figure it out.
Well, that's been true of the Cleveland and Chicago football franchises for quite some time now. I mean, you get the players you think are going to be good, and then they just underperform, or they make dumbass moves on coaches, or something stupid happens. They
Wait,
spend all their draft picks getting a player that never pans out.
well, and it's weird because I mean, like in my opinion, we have the best defensive player in the game right now, Miles Garrett, fucking dominating. I think we got rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year in Schlesinger. He's fucking stud. He, I fucking 10 plus tackles a day and a pick. Fucking like Mason Graham on the D line, solid again. Tackles for losses. Like the defense is doing all of its part. It's the offense can't do shit. Special teams is lacking. I mean, everybody wants to say, "Oh, defense win games." No, defense doesn't win games anymore. Defense keeps you in games. Offense wins games. So
Yeah,
I
you got
don't
to
know. We need to
score
do something
anymore.
offensively.
So
We need to do something offensively, and it's tough when we have two rookie quarterbacks on the roster, and you know it's a limited playbook. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see where you guys go if you ever get your salary cap back and a few draft picks back.
well, we got two first rounders this year because of that trade last year. So there's potential. There's hope. I just keep hoping Jacksonville keeps losing. It's not making the playoffs because we're not making the playoffs. So we could have, we might have two top 10 draft picks. And that last time we did that, we were half successful. Uh, One of them is still successful.
You'll get
Yeah,
two offensive
so
linemen.
I'd take it at this point. I think that's what we need.
Maybe put a little bit of stabilization in that lookout block line that you got going on.
Well, and part of this fell down to the fact that Jedrick Wills just didn't really pan out the last couple of years. They had a good first couple of years, and then I don't know. And it's weird. Like the guy is falling off the face of the earth. The guy was starting left tackle for 5 years, and then now he can't. Fucking whole league's hurting for offensive linemen, and no one's calling him. So I don't know what the fuck's up with that guy.
Yeah, it's tough when the players just don't pan out like you'd hope they would. Makes for a long
Yeah,
season.
it does.
Well, all right, man. I will go ahead and wrap this one up for today. It's way past my bedtime on a Sunday night. I gotta get up early tomorrow,
Mine
so
too.
I will say thanks for coming in tonight and imparting all your football wisdom.
Well, we'll catch you later, Kobe. It's good talking to you.
All right, man. Yep. Have a good night.
It's called Frosty Ding It, and I'm the dolphin, and you're the flounder.
Well, I guess I think it should be Dr. Parker, but